Today has been a wacky day for me. I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning last night because around 12:30 I decided that I wanted to go and do some walking for some exercise, considering that my reliance on my uncle to go to the gym on the army base isn't consistent. Not that he isn't trying, it's just that his life gets complicated and therefore he can't go. And since I'm not a military person and have no military ID, I can't go myself. So I'm stuck with the alternative of either sitting on my ass and waiting for whenever my uncle can take me to the gym, or taking the initiative into my own hands and trying to do something. So I live right, literally, the end of the driveway across the street is a middle school, I think, and they have, or maybe it's a junior high. I don't know, but I know that they have a track. So what I was going to do was go over to the school, go on the track, and just loop the track a bunch of times and get like 2 miles worth of walking in, or 2.5 miles, or however many I would get. I was plotting on 30 laps because when I was at the Air Force Base, it was on the when I first started going, which was like 2 weeks ago. We went to the Air Force Base because the time of the day and the location of where we were at. We went to Patterson Air Force Base, and they have like Fort Carson. They had gyms, so we went there, and they had a 1/12 of a mile track that I lapped a bunch of times. I wasn't sure how many times I'd lapped because I wasn't paying attention to that. So what I did was at the end of the walking, I had calculated how long it took me to go around the track once, and then times that by the amount of time I was there. It turned out to be 60 laps. Now I don't necessarily know if that's true, but that's what the time told me. So that meant that I walked 5 miles my first day. And then the next day, when I went to the army base and went into the treadmill, I walked about the same amount of time and only got about 2.5 miles. So I'm thinking that perhaps the mathematical work that I did the first time wasn't correct. But regardless, I'm getting off track here. So I was going to go over to the school and lap their track, and their track was what looked like maybe a 1/4 mile track. I was planning on doing 30 laps because 30 laps on the 12 mile track would have equaled uh, 2.5 miles. And I thought that's a pretty decent, walk. So I get over there. It's about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, and obviously the gate that surrounds the track is locked. I was looking around to see if there were any signs that specifically said, you can't be here after this time if the sun goes down, because some places like local parks have that ordinance where after sundown you can't be there. It's against the law. But I didn't see anything. I just saw the rules that say if you want to rent the place out, you need to call this number, and if you're going to come on here, please don't bring your dog, and that kind of thing. But nothing that had any specific time relation. I wasn't going to climb the fence. One of the rules said don't try to climb the fence to get into the track, but I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to climb the fence, so I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? Next to the track, they had like the little, it looked like a baseball diamond, but it wasn't for baseball. They had like what looked like a shot put circle. So I thought maybe it was the area for other track events, like the hammer throw and the javelin and whatnot. So I decided I was just going to lap that. I walked around it 22 times. It took me an hour to do that. I was aiming for 30. And when I looked at I have a stopwatch thing on my phone, an application that I use, and I looked at that to determine how long it took me to lap it once. I figured if it was a minute and 25 seconds like the other place, then I knew that I needed to lap it a certain amount of times. But one lap equated to 2 minutes and 43 seconds, I think. So obviously it was slightly larger. So I had it in my head I was going to do 30 laps, and I lapped it and lapped it and lapped it and lapped it. And eventually I looked at it, and 15 minutes had gone by, then 30 minutes, then 45 minutes. And then at an hour, which technically was an hour and 5 hour and 6 minutes, because I did 2 laps before thinking about timing it, I said, okay, I guess I'll stop there. So I still had 8 laps to go out of the 30, which is still not bad. I walked for an hour steadily, kept the pace up, and did that. But anyway, that's only part of what happened. But I got up this morning, and I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't necessarily depressed. I just wasn't as motivated as I was yesterday. I had this plan in my head. There is a Subway / gas station thing that's just about 2 blocks away from where I live. And it's a gas station with a little mini Subway bar in there, to get sandwiches and whatnot. And I've been going in there since I started living here in this apartment. Not every day, obviously, but you know, I'd stop in occasionally, and there's this girl that works there. Her name's Katie, and she caught my attention because the first thing I noticed about her, she's got tattoos all down her arms and stuff, and she is a bit of a smartass. So I'd go in, and I've, you know, progressively sort of pulled little bits of information about her from her through conversation and just being silly and whatnot. And the last thing that I had found out was that she was an active gamer. She plays a lot of video games. So I decided yesterday I was going to ask her to go to see a movie with me. You know, I don't have any friends in the area. If, you know, worst case scenario, I'll make a new friend. Best case scenario, maybe something will come from it. So I walked in there yesterday, and I had my headset in, and I was ready to go, and I walked up to the subway thing, and she wasn't there. It's her day off, which is typical of my luck. But her manager and one of her coworkers, who I'm kind of friendly with there, because I've seen them just as many times as I've seen her, I'm talking with them, and, you know, I wasn't really hungry, but I figured since I was already there, I'd get a small sandwich. So I got a 6-inch tuna fish sandwich. And so I had said to the manager, I said, look, I need you to help me with something. And she looked at me and she said, what? I said, I need you to help me with some information. And she said, what? And I said, I'm interested to know about Katie. Is she seeing anybody? And her manager said to me, I'm sorry, you know, I would like to help you, but because that's personal information and I'm not allowed to give it out to people that don't work here, you're going to have to ask her yourself. And then she said, and I said, okay. So it was nice of her to answer the question without actually having to answer the question. That was kind of cool. So I said, well, you know, I was thinking about asking her to go see a movie with me, and she's not here, which is my luck. And she said, oh, well, she'll be in tomorrow, today. So I said, okay, and I shot the shit with them for a little bit longer, got my sandwich, got some chips and a drink, and went home. Then yesterday, I went and I saw Sherlock Holmes, which I thought was a really cool flick. And while I was there, I asked if they did early ticket sales, which they did. So I picked up a ticket for Book of Eli, which comes out on Friday. I'm really excited to see that movie. So I've already got my Book of Eli ticket, which was a pre-purchase, and I got it for the first show of the day. There it is. I don't know if you guys can see that. Book of Eli, 12 p.m., the first show of the day. So I was like, okay, there we go. Got myself a ticket. So today, I go over there, and like I said, I started off the day, I felt like complete crap. Just unmotivated. I'm thinking to myself, I'm supposed to go and ask Katie to go see a movie with me, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling motivated. And it's totally out of character for me. That's not my, every woman I've ever dated, it's usually ended up just sort of working out that way, or they asked me. I've never really been one to ask, because every time I've ever done it, I've been shot down or humiliated in some fashion. And for me, humiliation is just having them laugh at me. At least in the context, because I was younger. Now if a girl laughs at me, I'm like, all right, fuck you. I really don't care enough. So, I went over there today, because I went out and got some lunch with my uncle. And I said, okay, and I sat down, and what I've been doing for the entire day today was chatting a little bit online, not really doing anything else, and I went and I looked at Google Maps, and I was looking at my old neighborhoods in Philly, and looking at what they look like now as compared to how I remember them, and just trying to remember more about my past. Not that it's great to go into that mindset, because it was really a lot of crap, but just remember some of the stuff that I had, the neighborhoods, the places, see if there was anything positive. And I'm looking at the pictures as it's going by, and I noticed that certain places are different, and then some places are the same, but it was just like, I know I'm supposed to know these places, I know I'm supposed to recognize them, but they were just, nothing was familiar. I was actually able to find the location of a house that I lived in with my mom. I knew it was on 8th Street, but I didn't remember where, and then I extrapolated from where we lived before, walking, and sort of followed the path up to it, and then looked in that area and was able to find a location that looked similar to where we lived. And I was like, oh, there it is. And I talked to my mom, and we went back and forth, and were able to get the final, yes, that was it, because I recognized the area from the little corner store that I used to go to. So I'm looking at that, and I'm kind of feeling out of it, and I went out and got lunch, and I came back home, and I said, okay, fuck this. So I took one of my business cards out of my wallet, and I said to myself, if she's not there, I'm still going to ask. I've already dedicated myself to it. So I've got a business card, it's got my name and my phone number and my information on there. And on the back of it, I wrote, how about you and me go see a movie, my treat, Book of Eli, noon tomorrow. Call me or email me. That's what I wrote on the back of the card. Put that back in my wallet, steeled myself, walked out the door, felt kind of funky going down the steps, feeling really like, oh man, what am I doing? That was my whole mindset. You know, what the hell am I doing? This is a mistake. Go down to my car, get in my car, drive over to the, because I was like, all right, if I'm going to go, at least I can put gas in my car, which I didn't fucking do. I go over there, I pull in, I walk in, and I look around, and she isn't in work yet. I'm like, well, fuck. So I walk up to the subway thingy, and the lady walks out, and I said, look, ma'am, can you do me a favor? And she said, it depends on the favor. I said, and I pulled out the business card, and I handed it to her. I said, could you give this to Katie when she comes in, please? And she looked at the card and said, sure. Walked in the back, and I said, thank you very much, and I left. So as we know through my track record, giving somebody my business card and letting them make up their mind about it, probably not the best choice. But what am I going to do? If I didn't do it then, I might not have done it at all. I had to take advantage of the situation, and I left it, you know, I didn't make anything. I'm leaving it up to her to decide if I'm worthy of calling or not. So at least I'm trying, right? You know, that's the only thing I can say. So that's what my day has been like today. It is now 4:03 p.m. by the clock here on my laptop. And I think she's not supposed to come in until 5, if I remember correctly. So if I don't get a call today or an email, I tried, right? At least I made the effort. I'm not regretful. I mean, granted, I sort of did it in the little, if you like me, yes, circle yes or no kind of thing. But, you know, I had to do it somehow. And I would have asked her if she was there. I actually had this plan in my head. I was going to ask her if she could give me a suggestion of a good tattoo artist, and if she'd be interested in going to see a movie, My Treat. And that was the plan. That was what I was going to start the conversation with and hit her with that. And she could just say, I don't do that kind of thing. And I said, okay, well, I can still buy sandwiches here, so I ain't sweating it, you know. So there you go, folks. That's what's going on with me. That is my life in a nutshell, the experience that I've had. I still feel like crap. Just a very blah. I mean, I can't really explain it. It's not a physical ailment. I just feel like a malaise, a soul malaise. So yeah, there you go. I guess I'll upload this now. You folks have a good day. Or, gotta have my signature salute in there, you know. Gotta keep up appearances.